Good morning. As he said, I'm Chief Nelson Mosley with the Wichita Police Department. I'm going to cover the officer-involved shooting that occurred on Oliver. First, I'd like to say members of the Wichita Police Department were confronted with a very difficult situation yesterday. The resulting outcome was the death of a 23-year-old man. Our thoughts go out to the family of Mr. Quintero and the officers and their families who were involved in this incident. We also are committed to an open and honest investigation. Here's what we know. At 6:43 p.m. yesterday, 911 operators received a call of a disturbance with a knife at the residence of 554 North Oliver. Two officers were sent to the call and arrived in the area of the disturbance at 6:51 p.m. They walked on foot towards the residence, and we also have a diagram here of where they parked right here at Delrose and Elm and walked to the location of 554 North Oliver. While en route to the call to the location, dispatchers received at least 3 more calls stating a suspect was under the influence of alcohol and armed with a knife. Dispatch was told by a calling party the suspect was at the front door of the residence trying to get back in at one point. As officers approached the residence from the west, they made contact with 2 individuals in an SUV parked in the driveway of the residence of 554 North Oliver. Officer A contacted the driver, who is a 44-year-old male and the father of the suspect. Officer B contacted the passenger, who's described as a 23-year-old male, John Paul Quintero. Officer A ordered the 44-year-old out of the vehicle, and he was willing to do so and was compliant. Officer B ordered the 23-year-old out of the vehicle. However, the 23-year-old was belligerent and confrontational towards the officers. And he also refused commands from Officer B. The suspect approached Officer B. Officer B backed away from the suspect due to him not complying with the verbal commands. The suspect walked towards the back of the SUV, at which time Officer A hears the verbal confrontation and moves to a position to assist Officer B at the rear of the SUV. And from this diagram as well, you can show them the positioning as well.
Here's the positioning of Officer A, Officer B. This is the vehicle here, here, and here. And here's the suspect.
Officer A assists in giving commands as the suspect is facing Officer A. After several commands to show his hands, the suspect verbally threatens the officers. Officer A pulls a taser out and gives additional verbal commands to place his hands on the SUV. The suspect does not comply, refusing to comply with the officer's orders, and Officer A at that point discharges a taser. Around this time, officers are then put out in trouble, asking for more backup officers. Once deployed, the taser had no effect on the suspect, and the suspect took one step towards Officer A. Officer B sees the suspect reach towards the waistband or his waistband. This is when Officer B fires 2 shots from her patrol rifle. The suspect is hit twice in the middle portion of the body. Additional officers arrived on the scene and provided first aid at that time. EMS arrived at the location at 7:04 p.m. and transported Mr. Quintero to Wesley Hospital in critical condition. At the hospital, he was taken into surgery, and he was pronounced dead at 12:55 a.m. The officers involved in this incident are a 4-year, 9-month, and a 3-year, 1-month veteran of the Wichita Police Department. They are now both on administrative leave as per Wichita Police Department policy. During the investigation, detectives learned that Mr. Quintero was originally involved in a verbal disturbance that turned physical, with Mr. Quintero battering the 21-year-old male homeowner. causing minor injuries to the male. The 21-year-old male then left the residence for a short period, but upon his return, Mr. Quintero will again begin a verbal argument with the 21-year-old male. During this argument, Mr. Quintero will arm himself with a knife and begin to threaten to kill individuals in the residence. At one point, Mr. Quintero will put the knife to a 21-year-old female's throat, threatening her as well. According to family members, Mr. Quintero will then assault and threaten his father with a knife. Mr. Quintero's father will then exit the residence and sit in the vehicle, the SUV as we've shown in the driveway. A short time later, Mr. Quintero then also exits the residence and also sits in the residence or in the vehicle with his father as well on the passenger side. While this investigation is ongoing and there are several questions that need to be answered, we want to stress that we will cooperate with all investigating agencies. They include the Kansas Bureau of Investigation, the Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office as well. As a police agency, we strive to be open and honest with our investigations, and this one will be no different. Our thoughts continue to be with the families of those involved in this unfortunate incident. At this time, I'll take some questions.
Were there any weapons found, either of the driver or passenger?
We have not located any weapons at this point.
Are there, either identities of the officers that we can be?
No, not at this point. And also, I'd like to add, again, this is an ongoing investigation. We're still out there on the scene processing. You know, we had the snow. We're dealing with the elements as well, trying to locate evidence, anything of that nature. So we're still out there, and you got to realize this is still less than 24 hours, and this is still real early in the investigation.
Is there anything specific y'all are looking for out there? It looked like earlier maybe there was a metal detector or something.
Yes, we're looking for any evidence of this case.
Can you describe the amount of time it took between when the officers arrived and ordered the people out of the car and to when the shots were fired? How long did that take?
Okay. From the emergency request for emergency traffic until the time that shots were fired was a matter of 3 minutes.
Is there any insight we can get on what the actual verbal altercation was between the officer and?
At this point, we're still investigating who said what, and also what exactly was said, so.
Did you say the man lived at the residence or a family member's residence?
Oh, did he? Was that his residence?
He was
He was staying there, but I can't answer whether that was his residence or not, permanent.
Where is the, driver of the vehicle currently?
We talked to that individual, and again, we're still early in the investigation of talking to people, but we did talk to that individual. I don't have the answer to that right now.
Has he been released or was he?
Yes.
And you said both officers have served for Wichita Police?
Yes.
For 3+ years?
Yes.
Which, respectively, who was?
Officer B was the, where's my? 4-year, 9-month, and Officer A was 3 years and 1 month. Both veterans with the Wichita Police Department.
You said Officer B was female, was Officer A male?
Yes.
And on administrative leave, are they paid or unpaid?
They are paid. And there's, again, our policy's posted, but there's a number of things we do per policy with our members. Again, ultimately, I mentioned that the district attorney's office is involved, and ultimately, this case will be presented to District Attorney Mark Bennett.
At this point of time, are you looking for any witnesses that might have seen anything, any people driving by the area during that time that could help you? Is that something?
Yes, we would ask that if there's anyone else out there with additional information to reach out to us and give us a call. But yes, if there is anyone out there with any information, we most certainly would like to hear that information and get a hold of us.
Can you explain to me one more time what the black dot at Elm, and I believe the street that begins with a D, has to do with what happened over near all of Is that just one of,
Right here?
Delrose.
Delrose.
Delrose, yes, what does that have to do with?
Here's where our officers parked and walked in. From the initial call, you'll know that we have arrived, but there's time to walk in. Our officers are also talking about approaching. Anytime we have a call with weapons or anything of that nature, they're also strategizing. They're in a 2-officer, 1-car unit. And so they're talking about approach, you know, how do we go on this call, things of that nature.
Now, do you see this being a longer investigation, given the conditions outside, the snow covering up possible evidence? Is this going to cause the investigation to go on longer than a normal?
It could. And again, from what I'm hearing right now, you know, it was snow last night when we were out there. It's now turned to ice. So it may take a little longer than usual.
And one more time, can you speak to how everything's gonna be presented, how everybody's gonna be held accountable no matter what the evidence finds? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, in any investigation, we are fact finders. We try to get to the bottom of what has occurred. Again, that's why I added the piece that KBI is also involved in this as far as the investigative entity and also the DA's office. Ultimately, we'll present all the facts we have to the district attorney's office for a final conclusion.
The last question that I have you ever been called out to this house before for anything similar or anything at all that you are aware of?
I do not have any information on that.